Hi everyone, this is Aki with another video on taxes. This is second in a series of the 10 most costly tax mistakes, and we're going to go over incorrect personal information errors and mistakes. And they're simple. You think they're simple, but actually there's so many people who are still making some of these mistakes. And these errors can be simple, from transposing a number, spelling name correctly, but they can affect your tax return in such a way as, in delay processing, getting letters from IRS, not getting a refund on time, and so on. Now, let's say if IRS has a wrong information for you, has the wrong name, there's a phone number you can call to get it corrected. But the number one thing you should do is basically to contact Social Security administration and make the correction with them. You can change your name with Social Security administration, and it can take few weeks to do that. So you want to be aware when you're doing it. Like if you're making the change in January and you're filing in February or March with the new name, if you have not received confirmation from Social Security that it has been changed, IRS is using their database to confirm your identity. And guess what? It's going to be rejected. Their tax return is going to be rejected. So you want to make sure you give yourself enough time to make that change. Now, Social Security number, numbers can be transposed. Date of birth, the same thing. Like, some people who have been in regions or coming from, like, let's say Europe, and you put the day, month, year, sometimes they can transpose that and transpose the year with the month and make a mistake as well. Incorrect EIN, this is employee identification number. So this is kind of like a number similar to like a Social Security for a person, but it's for employers and brokers. And it's also 9 digits long, which is the same as Social Security, but you're probably not as familiar with them. But if you don't put it correctly on a tax return, your tax return can be rejected. So it's very important to verify it. And some tax software have this verification process that they double check it for you, like if you're missing a number and so on, but not necessarily if the number is incorrect. Another thing that you have to be aware of is filing with an expired ITIN. ITIN, that's individual taxpayer identification number. So this is a number that taxpayer can receive who don't have a Social Security number. And every year IRS has an updated list of ITINs that expire. And if they have not been used, like many times in the past 3 years on tax returns, they expire and you are required to renew them. And, if you do file with an expired ITIN number, the tax return will be processed. However, you won't necessarily be able to claim all the credits and deductions. So you do want to make sure you renew it before you file it. And the process to renew it can be up to 60 days. So you do have to do it way before you file your tax return. And, it has like the Form W7 that requires a lot of documentations, to renew your ITIN number. So you definitely have to plan ahead. So probably early of the year before you filing your taxes. So maybe November of that year, you should be trying to think about if you have to renew your ITIN number or not. This one is kind of what we talked about briefly, which is, filing with a new name. Want to make sure you give yourself ample amount of time to have the Social Security administration. You have your name. So this is in some instructions what they will need for you to provide in order to request a new name. So I will link it in the video so you have that quick access. And finally, the last one is, providing incorrect bank information. What happens if you provide a wrong direct deposit information? And obviously, your tax return will be delayed in processing. So it is to your advantage to provide your direct deposit information, because this is the quickest way to receive your refund. And I have a table here, refund timing. If you e-file and request direct deposit, you should receive refund within 1 to 3 weeks. It can be within 1 week, honestly. If you're filing paper file plus direct deposit, it can be 3 weeks, because obviously it has to be mailed out. If you have e-file plus check or paper file and check, this one is the longest. So you see that direct deposits, it's really the quickest way. If you provide the incorrect info, IRS will send you a paper check. However, on their website also says, let's say if you have you provide incorrect account or routing number that belongs to someone else, and then you must work out directly with the respective financial institution to recover the funds. So, if you put the incorrect routing or account number and bounces back because IRS can't verify it, then they'll send you a check and you're good. But if you provide someone else's account number, that's something that IRS will not be helping you try to recover this fund. So that's why it's super important to make sure that that you have the correct information on your tax return. So these are like some basic things that you can definitely avoid by just providing correct name, social security, double checking everything to make sure that you get your refund in time. And that's definitely it's in your power to make sure all this stuff is correct on your tax return, and you can avoid it easily and avoid those tax mistakes. So thanks so much for watching.